Okay, we are going to go over a couple of things related to the annotated bibliography. This may be a repeat of some ideas found before, but let's all get on the same page. This is what we should be focused on first thing. First of all, in a bibliography, the article is cited on top, and it should be cited using APA 7th edition. You see the last name, first name, initial, the year. This would be the title of the journal article, and note that only the first letter is capitalized or the first letter after a full colon. The name of the journal in italics, caps on both names, and the volume number, there should be a comma here, and then the page number. And you can look online or look at your sources, but this must be cited correctly. When you do the bibliography, you are entering a teaching mode. You are explaining or describing the relevant aspects of the article. And it's important that we have your topic or your question up front. That guides everything you do. In this brief example, I was looking at disproportionality in special education. I'm going to show you just two of them. But they're usually 2 or 3 paragraphs. Now the onus is on you to make sure you explain, you describe. And doing this, sometimes you have to present the information in a different order than is found in the article, or maybe you need a bit more explanation. But the onus is on you to describe the relevant information, the information related to your question or your topic. So the goal is not to replicate, to make a mini version of that article. You're not writing an abstract. The goal is to describe it in a way that someone could pick it up and understand what that article or study is about and go get it if they need to. All right, so you need to first understand exactly what it says, and that's why you have to read critically and take good notes. Enter a teaching mode, and you should include just the information based on the topic or question. So based on my topic, disproportionality in special education, I included only that information. Now listen to this. This article examines the disproportionate number of African Americans in special education, make up 14%, 20%. Okay, I'm explaining here. African Americans are disproportionately referred to and placed in 3 high incidence special education categories. Also, when compared to white students with the same label, they are disproportionately placed in segregated special education classrooms versus inclusive general education classrooms. Once in special education, achievement gains, all right? So I'm describing, I'm explaining, I'm teaching the relevant parts. And I had to move some of this information around so it made sense in the 2 paragraphs. But based on this, you have a good sense of what this article was about. I'm including just the information related to my question, which was our topic, disproportionality in special education. Same thing here, and federal guidelines related to disabilities use a medical model. Here, okay, so I'm describing. Sometimes I have to include maybe some information that wasn't in the article, in the journal article, just to explain or to help the people understand. My goal, the onus on me, again, is to make sure my reader knows and understands. So I assume that the reader knows nothing. Why is this important? This is the basis. You're going to create a presentation of some sort. This sets your presentation in a theoretical context. So people will be looking at your annotated bibliography. So that's why it has to be written in objective academic language, concise objective academic language. And here's a little trick I'm going to show you. View Immersive Reader, read aloud.
This article examines the disproportionate number of African Americans in special education. African Americans make up 14%.
You get the idea. Having it read aloud, you get a much better sense of the flow and the fluency of the article. So I would encourage you to do that. The read aloud function. If you don't have it on your computer, you can Google read aloud, and there's lots of free programs online you can do that with. All right. Now, if you include a research study of any kind, if it is research, you must include these things: the author, date, title of the journal. Yes. Question or purpose of the study. This study examined the effects of dialogue journals on students' understanding of psychology. That's the purpose. You must tell us about the subjects or participants. For this study, 40 subjects were chosen from a pool of 150 college psychology students randomly assigned to either treatment or control group. Treatment criteria or conditions. The treatment group used dialogue journals with daily journal prompts, weekly response. The control group was given the same instruction, it should be instructional experience, without the use of journals. So there's a simple sentence that gives me the basics of what the treatment group was and the control group. At the end of the semesters, both groups took the comprehension psychology test. All right, that is the measure or the instruments. It was found that the experimental group scored significantly higher than the control group. All right, that's the results or findings. And then it may be inferred that. That would be maybe a conclusion. You can do that as well. Now, if there's a difference, it must be significantly different or statistically significant. The difference must be statistically significant. That means greater than could happen by chance. We don't care about if there's just a difference. We care if the difference was statistically significant. And one other thing, research is always described in past tense because research happened at a particular instance in time in the past, so always use the past tense. And I'm going to put this up here, and you've seen this, but you see exactly, and you can look this over by yourself. Now, these are the criteria. I don't believe in rubrics. I think rubrics are stupid. Pardon my French. Let's get this fixed. I hate when things aren't fixed right. All right. But I do believe in rating checklists which have the criteria. All right. So pose the question at the beginning of your AB. Make sure the question can be answered by the sources. Appropriate peer-reviewed journal articles and an approved academic textbook. When in doubt, ask me. All right. Websites are not appropriate academic sources. Peer review, blind peer reviewed journals, magazines are not appropriate, newspapers aren't appropriate. So make sure it is a peer reviewed journal. Doesn't have to be a research article, but it does have to be a theoretical article found in a peer reviewed journal. So here we go. You're describing a theoretical article, correctly cited, clearly described. You understand the essential elements of the article, and you describe them in a way that's easy to understand. And if it is a research article, make sure you describe those things using past tense. Demonstrate that you understand the essential elements. Knowledge. Did you demonstrate appropriate background knowledge? Now, as a literacy guy, I am going to react if you come to conclusions that are clearly not aligned with a body of research related to reading and writing. And just so sadly, I happen to know a lot about that. So if you're describing an outlier article or something is not correctly interpreted, I will ask you to either get a different article or revisit that. You want to let the ideas speak. We should not see you Personal pronouns, I, me, we, you, don't use them. Adjectives, qualifiers, really, really, don't use them or use them very, very seldomly. You want to use as few words as possible to describe the article, and that's where that balance is. You want to use as few words, but you want to describe it fully. Make sure you use complete sentences, concise, avoid repetition. And here's the thing, when you're writing an A-B, sometimes you may describe the same idea twice, and that confuses the reader because we wonder if we didn't get it the right time. So avoid repetition, make sure the sentences make sense and are easy to read. Paragraph, when you start a new idea, start a new paragraph. Word choice, academic writing style, avoid speechisms or colloquialisms. Pragmatic choice about the quantity. Don't try to sound smart by using a whole bunch of words. Short sentences are wonderful. Don't think you need to write long sentences with a bunch of clauses. Don't try to sound like a college writer using college words. Describe it as simply as possible. Correct APA citation, easy to understand, presentable spelling and grammar. All right, so I will either approve, minor revisions, major, and that's what I will do. All right, this has just been a little bit on the annotated bibliography. Hopefully we'll move you down the line a little bit. We want this finished before you start on your presentation, because this will provide your audience with the theoretical context for your article.